The Field of Dreams game was tonight, and Kyle Schwarber did not disappoint, hitting 2 balls into the corn.
I'm looking to the bullpen to bring my lefty in. Keep the lead and make your team look pedestrian. It's in your wheelhouse, we'll swing for the fence. You know it's money around here, and I ain't talking expense. Strike one, heat low in the way, you can't hit it. You know you want to start a rally, but you better forget it. Strike two, off speed, same spot, your car looking. Get ready at the plate, this time you're not cooking. Strike three, swinging out of the zone. You ain't even touch it first. Tell me how they gonna drive you home. Walk it back, looking like we ain't cool then. The game's over, might as well put them back to the bullpen, oh yeah.
That's right, everybody, and welcome back to the bullpen like we are Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock p.m. on the Locked On MLB channel. I'm Brett Chancey. He's Mike Stanton with 19 years big league experience, and I'm local expert analysis. We bring you a show unlike any other on the number one sports podcasting network, Locked On. And we're going to get a little bit of Shohei Ohtani talk at the end of the show. We're also going to talk Hunter Greene. The news is not great for him or Cincinnati. 3 things you didn't know about Field of Dreams, and Kyle Schwarber lighting up Iowa.
Yeah, so tonight was one of those games that, Major League Baseball likes to put out there, with the movie from Kevin Costner, and we'll get to him in a minute, and there's all kinds of things going on. It is a pretty exclusive game. If you want to go, I'm not even sure how you get tickets, because I don't think there's a whole lot of places to sit there in the corn in Iowa, but this is one of those games that Major League Baseball really promotes. It's fun. The playing surface is good. The field is not very big. The ball can get out of there pretty quickly, but the Field of Dreams game is just one of those unique games that Major League Baseball likes to put on.
Yeah, exactly. Baseball spends a lot of time on this because the time-honored tradition of, baseball movies, there have been a few pretty corny adaptations of Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Some better than others, but the dramas like Field of Dreams, like The Natural, 8 Men Out, just all the dramatic, 61, all these dramas, it really brings you back to when you were growing up. And what's cool is the very first one they did this, they brought Kevin Costner into it. They've done a series of things where Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr. are like, hey, Dad, you want to have a catch? And then they did that with, I saw Ben Verlander and his dad. And so it's all these things. But what was cool tonight was when the game starts, all the players come out of the outfield. And I don't know why I get goosebumps when I talk about this, but 26 Hall of Famers emerged from the cornfield beyond right field. Just neat imagery, and takes you back to when that movie came out.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. In Major League Baseball, they get some things wrong. So they get a lot of things right. And, is that a little bit corny? Sure, it's a little corny. But I'll tell you what, it gave you goosebumps. It gave me goosebumps. So I don't know if we're going to call that corny or not, just because of just what it means. I mean, the Field of Dreams, the movie, that was a long time ago. I mean, this is back when Kevin Costner was a young man. It was right after I think he had just made Bull Durham shortly there before that. And so, to have that happen, and for the, just the theatrics of it all, and that's all that was. But that was pretty cool.
Look, you're getting a little long on the tooth when all the movies that you grew up watching, they're like 30th anniversary, 40th anniversary. I'm like, those were my dad's movies, like Gone with the Wind and, all the classics. I tell my students now, like, classic rock that I listen to is the music I listen to. Classic rock when I was growing up was my dad's music. Now classic rock is my music.
Yeah. Well, I listen to the 80s all the time. Now, people love it. Even the young kids, they I know this song, and they'll start singing. I go, dude, that's right out of the 80s, man. This is so yeah, that's I guess we're considered classics now.
There you go. Look, Kyle Schwarber said earlier in the week that he was excited to see the corn. They were excited to be there. If a player hadn't played there, it's just neat to experience it.
Sure.
Kyle Schwarber's a DH. and he's leading off. That's something we haven't really talked about.
Yeah.
And he led off the game today with a home run off of Taj Bradley.
Right. Yeah. The reason they do that, now you remember, you go back 25 years ago, where you hit in the lineup, there were very specific roles. The leadoff hitter was always a guy, kind of a slap hitter, maybe can work a walk, had some speed to steal bases. The 2-hole hitter took a lot of pitches to let the leadoff hitter, if it's on base, steal bases. 3-hole hitter was the best hitter. 4-hole hitter was the best power hitter. 5-hole hitter was a good hitter, but you liked him with runners on base because, well, that's not how it works anymore. And the reason you put your best, maybe even your best power hitters at the top of the lineup is because the data shows, yep, that's where I went. What the data shows is that you want your best hitters to get the most plate appearances. You want them to get, and the first hitter and the second hitter and the third hitter, they get more at bats through the long haul of the season. I mean, well more than the rest of the guys in the lineup. So that's why you have those guys at the top. That's why Shohei Ohtani, hitting home runs, is the leadoff hitter. Not because he's going to steal bases, which he can do that too, but because, start off with, he may start the game off 1-0. And that's what Kyle Schwarber did tonight.
Well, with these 2 home runs, he hit his 36th and his 37th home run. We're talking about Kyle Schwarber. He's up to 377 home runs.
Yeah.
He is,
and that leads Major League Baseball, by the way. 37 is leading Major League Baseball. 37.
So Jordan is now out of the league triple crown as of right now. He's still he narrowly missed a home run the other night at Oracle Park in San Francisco. The ball he hit to right field was the hardest hit single I've ever seen in my life. And it would have gone out in 27 parks. But, to stick to someone like Kyle Schwarber lately has been swinging a better bat. The Phillies came out of the gates hot whenever they had the change in the coaches. All this stuff happened. And Philadelphia they just skyrocketed. They kind of plateaued a little bit, but they're still in a good spot. They're still in a good spot.
Yeah.
They are the last wild card, but they only maintain a half-game lead over the Arizona Diamondbacks, depending on what the Diamondbacks do while we're on the show or after.
Yeah.
Look, Kyle Schwarber, but not just Kyle Schwarber. It's the rest of their lineup, Mike. When you're trying to make a playoff run, when you're trying to get to the playoffs, you can't just depend on one guy. And you've got to get Trey Turner going. You got to get, Luis Ariz was 3 for 5 in this game. So that's a good sign. Brandon Marsh is still having a solid year. He's not batting over 300, but he's 276. This lineup has to function top to bottom.
Yeah, and I don't want to say they've been floundering, but how you put it is probably a pretty good way. They've kind of plateaued. They're 5 going into tonight. They were 5-5 in their last 10. They had lost 2 in a row. Their offense had been okay, even though Kyle is 6 for 16 going into tonight with 6 for 16 in his last 5 games. So what does that say? They would love for him and some of these other guys to get hot. So that could be this could be one of those things that kind of builds a little confidence and something for them to grow on. Another positive out of tonight's game, Aaron Nola was very good, and Bam Man 1003, he makes a good point. He was on tonight. 9 strikeouts in 5 innings, giving up, I think, just 1 run. So, that could be a big boost for this Phillies team to get Aaron Nola, back on track. He has not had a good season, but get him back on track. Going down through the dog days of summer here into the stretch run in September.
Yeah, exactly. And, someone like Aaron Nola doing what he did, look, 4 wins, 5 wins, wherever he is on the season, doesn't mean anything when you get in the playoffs. In the playoffs, when you perform, and if you can perform, that's really when it counts. And I think with the pieces he has around him, I think the Phillies have a really good shot. But here's some more interesting numbers for Schwarber before, and I'm going to give you this. We're going to go on a break, and then we're going to give those 3 things you didn't know about Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
Number 1, this is his 6th multi-homer game in 2026. He's tied Hunter Goodman for the most in MLB. It's his 42nd multi-homer game, 3rd amongst active players. Aaron Judge, 47, Manny Machado, 45. That's elite company.
Yeah. Well, we know that this guy can, when he gets hot, he can hit the ball out of the ballpark almost like no other. I mean, he can, when you say he can hit home runs in bunches, this is kind of like the even more than like an Aaron Judge. This is the dude that, you know, when he gets that swing and he gets the lift on the ball, he creates some backspin. I mean, the home runs can, you know, he can hit 5, 6, 7 in a week.
Oh yeah.
And so that's pretty special. Now, the other side of Kyle Schwarber's game, he struck out once tonight, which isn't that big deal for Kyle Schwarber. He also leads Major League Baseball with 177 strikeouts. So you want to talk about an all or nothing hitter? That's Kyle Schwarber.
Yep, he leads in 2 of the 3 true outcomes of baseball.
That's right.
Walks and home runs. Next, we're going to tell you 3 things you didn't know about Field of Dreams. There's nothing like watching your favorite team on TV, but even better when you get to see it live. The only problem is getting tickets can feel like a grind with long queues, surprise fees, and prices jumping at checkout. Well, that's where Game Time comes in. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage with constant innovation. It's how you unlock amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's simple to use. The Game Time guarantee means you get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time at the best price. And here's the best part. Fees are included in the price you see. What you see is what you pay, period. The seat views feature is huge. The zone deals lets me pick the section while I save even more time, and Game Time picks the seats. You can also follow your favorite team, get alerts when new deals drop. I literally have seen tickets fall and be as low as $10 per game. 2 taps and it's done. No stress, no hidden fees, just great seats and minutes. That's what makes it so easy to decide last minute to hit a game. So take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today.
Welcome back to the Bullpen, presented by the Locked On Network. We're talking the Field of Dreams game happened tonight, and it was a little bit of a nightmare for the Minnesota Twins, who were the home team, but the Phillies, man, they like the corn.
That's right. They do. And, you know, it's really hard not to make corny jokes tonight, but I will digress and save our audience. This is not a comedy show. Yeah. So, you know, I need a 2-drink minimum, I think, for half my jokes to land. So, but all right. Some things I found out about Field of Dreams, and I thought it was pretty cool. I'm going to start with this one. You know, when Ray Castanella is walking out into the field and he's like, he hears, if you build it, they will come, right? You hear that.
He will come. First,
he will come. Okay. When you build it, he will come.
Yeah.
Right. So you hear that, and I've always wondered, like, whose voice is that? Like, who is the actor that's voicing that? Right. Well, as far as we know, it is Ed Harris. It's actor Harris.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I went back and I listened to the scene, and I said, okay, I can catch a little Ed Harris in there. Okay. I thought that was actually really cool.
It's kind of tough because he's kind of whispering. You know,
well, some people thought it was Kevin Costner. I think for the longest, right?
Right.
But yeah, Ed Harris is believed to be the guy who is the voice.
Okay.
Also, you won't be able to see them, but when they're in Boston at the game, whenever you know, James Earl Jones, Kevin Costner are at the game, right. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, young actors at the time, are some of the extras in attendance.
How about that?
At the game, which makes sense because they're both from Boston.
Right.
So
Ben Affleck is a huge Red Sox fan.
Yeah. So I thought that was neat. And then our last really cool fact here, Kevin Costner was actually approached the filmmakers about starring in the film. So they weren't going to approach him because they thought that because he had just done Bull Durham, that he didn't want to do another baseball movie. And much to their surprise, he was their first choice. And he came to them and said, hey, I'd like to star in this movie. They're like,
right.
We had you on the docket.
Well, and then there's another tidbit here. You said that you just told me, what does Kevin Costner have in his house in Colorado?
Oh, Kevin Costner has built a replica of the Field of Dreams field at his house in Colorado with the pitching machine, with the sound system. I mean, this dude, he's living the dream. This guy's been in some of the most famous movies.
Well, how many baseball movies? I know of 3 off the top of my head. Baseball movies. Bull Durham, Field of Dreams, and then For the Love of the Game.
Right.
So yeah, cool. Now here's a little story from me.
Yeah.
So Bull Durham, the Durham Bulls were a real team. Now I actually played for that team about the time they were filming.
Really?
Okay? The field that they played at with the bull in the right field, and you hit it and the stuff comes out of the nose and the lights and that was all real. That was all real. That was the real field. Okay. The bus that had the tassels on the windows. Okay. That was our team bus. That was the real bus. Now the clubhouse, they had done something that it was different, but yes, there were a couple of my former teammates that were extras that played either for the Durham Bulls or against the Durham Bulls.
Wow.
That was something pretty cool. And if you remember, a lot of the baseball scenes, you saw like the pitchers had, you saw that their breath. Right. That was because a lot of the filming was done in the winter, because during the summer, the stadium's being used for the Durham Bulls.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. I didn't think about that. Yeah. Well, I didn't know you had ties like that too.
Yeah, I played for the Durham Bulls.
Very cool. Now, do you have your jersey from the Durham Bulls?
I don't. Now I have started the process of trying to get one, but the biggest problem I have right now, I got to figure out what number I was. I don't remember what number I was when I played for them. Because I only played for them for 2 weeks. I think I got.
Oh, okay.
I was a starting pitcher at the time. I got called up from Burlington, Iowa, the Midwest League. They had some injuries, so I got called up, and I had, I think, 2 starts for the Durham Bulls right at the end of the season, trying to make the playoffs.
Oh, I was going to ask you, do you have your hat from the Yankees game this last week?
I do.
Man, I saw that. I was like, I hope Mike brings that hat home. You need to wear that hat one night. I have
that. I also have my jersey, and the way you tell. I mean, it's a Yankees jersey, so they all look the same, but it's got John Sterling patch. On the sleeve. Yeah, that's
really cool. Yeah, you'll have to. Hey, maybe you have to don that. We'll have to do like a Yankee show. You'll have to put that on.
There you go.
I would love to see that. That's really cool.
Maybe if Judge comes back. When Judge comes back. Not
there
if,
you go.
When Judge comes back.
If and when he comes back. Well, hey, someone who's unfortunately not going to make a return until 2028, Hunter Greene underwent his a revision Tommy John surgery on Wednesday, his second. So that means that Greene is likely to miss the entire 27 season. In even an optimistic 12-month return timetable would put him back August 2027. But 18 months, early 2028. This isn't what the Reds had envisioned, because he actually started the year out pretty good. I mean, he was looking good. He was throwing strikes. He was getting strikeouts. But Mike, this guy's been throwing hard for a long time.
Okay, so people need to remember that this was a top draft pick. This is one of the best high school players of his draft. Now, he was 100-mile-an-hour arm, but he was drafted as a shortstop. And this happens quite often, that the player says, you know what, I want to play. I don't want to pitch. Well, okay, what we're going to let you do, we're going to draft you. We're going to let you play shortstop for a little while and let you play out of that position. And that's exactly what happened. He becomes a pitcher with the 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Now, you got to remember, 18 years old, throwing 100 miles an hour. You know, people that are listening that have listened to us before, you know my view on this. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when the Tommy John is going to come, because it's just too much stress on a guy that is still developing. It's happened once. Now it's happened a second time. Now you have to also remember he had surgery early this year, okay, not season, this year, to get bone chips removed out of his elbow. And he came back from that. He made a few starts, was actually pitching pretty well. Then he went back on the IL.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be tough. Now we're going to talk more because there's financial obligations and there's other things going forward, potential paths that we have for him when he returns.
And I have some numbers about Tommy John in Major League Baseball.
That's right. Mike has got some interesting numbers. So stay put. We got more, and we got some Ohtani news. Interesting stuff. Can we talk about one of the most underrated organs in your body, your liver? It's your body's filter, processing everything you consume and performing more than 500 functions every day. It's involved in things like energy production, digestion, fat metabolism, and vitamin storage. So it's doing a lot of work behind the scenes. Well, that's why giving your liver daily support can be an important part of building healthy habits. Dose for Your Liver is a clinically backed liver health supplement designed to support daily liver function. Unlike another capsule or powder, Dose comes in a liquid 2-ounce daily shot that tastes like fresh squeezed orange juice. There's 0 sugar, 0 junk, and 0 calories, making it an easy addition to your daily routine. Look, it's better than a pill. Once again, it's just a 2-ounce serving. It tastes like fresh squeezed orange juice. And I emphasize that because the experience is different. And why not make it simple and work it into your plan on a daily basis right now? Help your liver be supported the best way. Head to dose.co/LockedOnMLB. That's LockedOnMLB to get 35% off your first subscription. Your body does so much for you. Let's do something for it at dosedaily.co/LockedOnMLB for 35% off your first month subscription. And before we get into today's show again, it's time for the Everyday Icon presented by Stance. It's the official sock partner of Major League Baseball. Stance knows greatness isn't built in a single moment. It's earned over time through consistency, preparation, and showing up every day. That's why each week we're recognizing one player whose performance embodies those same qualities. And this week we're picking Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani continues to take solid at-bats, get hits, get RBIs, hit home runs, all the while working back to get on the mound so he can be a double threat during the postseason. And the Everyday Icon is presented by Stance, so check out the Icon collection from Stance. Premium comfort, performance, and durability designed for whatever your day brings. Use promo code LOCKEDON at checkout for 20% off your purchase. Stance, the official sock partner of Major League Baseball. Learn more at stance.com.
Welcome back to the Bullpen, presented by the Locked On Network. Yeah, so Hunter Greene and the Cincinnati Reds, devastating news. He goes under the knife with his second Tommy John surgery. He's going to be out for at least 12 months, probably more like 15 to 18 months. He's owed some money. He's only 27 years old, and he's on a long-term deal. You can give the numbers here in just a minute, what he's owed. But there were some numbers. So the first thing that came to mind when I heard this, other than it's just sad because, this guy has actually pitched very well. He's got like a 2.76 ERA. And so it's unfortunate that he has to go back under the knife. So it came to mind, I had to ask the question, so how many pitchers in the last 10 years have had ligament replacement surgery? And that's Tommy John surgery. And it's I don't know the exact number, but it's over 250 pitchers have had. So basically in the last 10 years, it's roughly between 20 and 35 pitchers per year is the actual number. On average, 250 divided by 10, that's 25 per year. And then so then the next question is, how many have had Tommy John twice? And that is over 40. in the last
Wow.
10 years have not had Tommy John just once, but have ligament replacement surgery twice. So you got to remember, that's like 3 years of their career spent on the IL.
That's that's just insane. And I don't know.
And by the way, that's just Major League Baseball. Who knows what the number is in professional baseball, meaning all the minor leagues.
Minor leagues, even college, shoot, even high school these days, Mike.
Even younger. Younger than that.
Oh, no.
I know of players that are in their teens that have had Tommy John. The youngest I've ever heard of was 12.
So I was years ago, I was at a school and there was a story. One of the rival schools of where I was at, there was a father that was known to be actively asking to just allow his son to have Tommy John surgery because he thought that if he had Tommy John surgery, it would make him stronger,
right?
Like a better thrower. And I'm just like, this isn't like the competitive advantage people are willing to get. So but here's the deal. Hunter Greene signed 6 years, $53 million through 2028, $21 million club option in 29. He's scheduled to make $15 million in 2027. I mean, just absolutely brutal because without him, when you had him, you had Burns, you had Greene, and you had Abbott. Three-headed monster. Now you got Burns and Abbott and everybody else. And so now they've got some decisions to make, especially this offseason, and hopefully with there's games and everything. But yeah, Hunter Greene being out, it's definitely doesn't help. But question, he comes back from a second Tommy John. Does his role change? Does his pitching style change? Is he a starter? Is he a reliever? Is he a closer?
Yeah.
What do you think?
The answer is you don't really know. Now there's, Tommy John has become, I don't want to say routine because it is a major surgery, but the medical field has gotten so good at this.
True.
That barring any kind of infection or something like that, guys usually come back. Even after the second one, they usually come back and they can at least pitch effectively. A lot of them come back and seemingly have the same stuff. Now, the story that you just told about the young player, the father, begging for Tommy John, trying to get Tommy John when the kid doesn't really need it, is because a lot of times you see Major League Baseball players, professional baseball players, when they come back, they throw a little bit harder. And the reason isn't because of the Tommy John. It's not because of the ligament. It's because of all the work that it's being done, whether it's, you got to remember, it's a year to 18 months. The work that they're doing on their body to make their body stronger, more flexible, maybe mechanical adjustments as they're coming back, because you're basically starting from zero. I mean, you still remember how to throw, but as far as the action of the arm and everything, you're starting from zero. So it doesn't have anything to do with the actual ligament, but I have heard those stories, just countless times over the years.
So I guess it was about a year and a half ago. No, I think maybe last year. I ran into one of the relief pitchers for the Texas A&M Aggies, and I cannot remember the pitcher's name to save my life, but he's one of their more dependable. I think he had like 40 something appearances on the mound, in college. It's huge. And I asked him, I was like, so what do you touch? Are you mid 90s, upper 90s? Like, yeah, I'm upper 90s, 98, 97 to 99 or whatever. Yeah. And I said, have you dealt with an injury? He said, I'm one of my few friends who throws hard, who hasn't had a surgery or hasn't been injured. And I said, well, what have you done? He said, I'm very heavy on stretching, on plyometrics, on band work, on building everything around my elbow, my forearm, he said, and I'm very, very intentional. I have a very strict, disciplined routine. And he said, now, but he said, but does that same routine work for somebody else? He goes, somebody else could do that routine and it might break them. But he said, he goes, you have to learn your body, but you have to invest in the right people to put around you. And he said, some guys don't have that luxury.
Yeah. Well, and even though we don't know the player's name, everything he's done, and that he hasn't had Tommy John throwing that hard. Now, you got to remember, he's in college. He's still, 20, 21 years old. He's still not fully developed. The male of this species doesn't completely develop until they're in their late 20s. It's 27, 28, 29. That's why we say that in Major League Baseball, that's a player's prime, is because that's when they fully develop. So even at 20 years old, yeah, you're starting to get your man muscles, but you're not fully developed. And even though he had done everything right and he hasn't been injured up until that point, that doesn't mean that the injury is not coming. God did not design us to throw overhand. That is the problem. That's why elbows and shoulders, that's why we break. That's why when a softball pitcher gets tired, it's her legs. It's not her arm, because that is a natural movement of the arm. That is a big problem that we have in baseball, and there's no way to get around it. Especially with how strong these young players are and how much amateur baseball they're playing, how many pitches they're throwing. It's max effort, max spin all the time at very young ages. That's why it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not sure if it's him, but I know there was a kid named Clayton Freshcorn that I think it was Clayton, but I'm looking at his picture right now, and I wish I would have written his name down. It was an interesting conversation. But let's wrap the show up with Ohtani news. Ohtani had signed, this big contract. Everybody knows about the deferment. Everybody knows about that. But he had signed this. He had a clause in his contract that had not really ever been seen before. And the clause basically allowed Ohtani to opt out if Walter, or president of baseball operations Andrew Friedman leaves the organization, giving Ohtani the level of contract protection that's really unheard of. And so basically what they've done is Ohtani's come out and said, you know what? This is why I did this, because I wasn't sure the Dodgers were going to continue to put a winning product on the field. Mm-hmm. They've shown me their commitment to that. So I'm probably not going to exercise that clause.
Yeah. So what the clause is called, it's called the key man clause.
Key man. There you go.
Key man clause. And what it basically states is if one of these guys leave, he has the option to opt out of his contract. Now, that also means he's giving up the rest of that contract. Now, you got to remember
this. True.
It's kind of confusing because of all the deferrals and everything. How long have you been in? But you can understand why he did this, because he has he's getting paid like a utility infielder. He's getting paid like a fourth outfielder. Okay.
Like a Mauricio Dubon type player. I mean,
$2 million a year for the first 10 years of that contract. That's what he's getting paid. The rest of it is all in deferrals that start in year 11.
Right.
So after the contract is completed. And so, he's saying, if I'm going to take this hit, then I need to make sure that this organization is going to do what they said. And one of the things they sold him on was that we are going to compete. We are going to spend money. We're going to do everything we're supposed to do. And, Shohei Ohtani really bought into Andrew Friedman. And so the issue they're having right now is with Mark Walter, who's the owner of, it's his ownership group that owns the Dodgers. Well, he also owned the Lakers, and he, because he's having some legal issues, he actually just sold the Lakers.
He did.
And
yeah.
That has created uncertainty around the Dodgers. But Ohtani, a few seasons in now to this 10-year, $700 million contract, he has said that I'm not gonna things drastically change. This isn't an option, because you have to remember, if he opts out, is he going to be able to find another $700 million contract? And I don't.
No, he's not. Well, it's funny, him making $2 million. The league minimum is like $780,000, I believe, in 2026. So he's not making much more than the league minimum.
Yeah.
So yeah,
starting in year 11, he gets paid for the next 10 years. He gets paid $68 million a year.
that will. So you know how we celebrate Bobby Bonilla Day? We will celebrate Shohei Ohtani Day.
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani will celebrate Shohei Ohtani
actually,
Day.
That's right. Hopefully he throws a party.
Hey, I hope we're invited.
Right.
You know what? I haven't ever said anything bad about Ohtani on any of my shows. So Ohtani,
what's there to say? Other than the gambling issue with his interpreter, there's really the dude has not done anything other than just want to play, want to be the best, and win.
Exactly. Well, hey, this has been a great show, Mike. We talked about a lot of really cool things. We learned some stuff, and we learned some stuff about you, not only Field of Dreams trivia, but Mike Stanton trivia and the Durham Bulls. I really thought you were going to tell me that you were in the movie. And I was like,
the guys that were in the movie, the teammates that I had, were guys that stayed in the Raleigh-Durham area. So that's why they did it. They were baseball players that stayed in the area, so they were able to make it because they needed guys that one of the worst things you can do in a baseball movie is put guys in the movie that don't know how to play baseball. Because it's really easy to tell when somebody can't play. You go back to major leagues. Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen in high school. He spent a couple summers somewhere in the Midwest at some kind of baseball camp, like all summer, and that's one of the reasons why he was cast for the role. In major leagues, of Rick Vaughn, because he actually could throw the baseball and look like a baseball player.
That's awesome. Well, once again, it's a great show. We went from Iowa to Kyle Schwarber to Hunter Greene to Shohei Ohtani. We span the MLB globe, but for myself and Mike and everybody here, look, you need to check out the 24/7 MLB Talk channel. It is 24/7, all shows all the time, focusing on the New York, LA, I believe in Chicago area. There are 3 different markets, but also our show is on there twice a day. I believe we're around 3:30 and 9:30. I'll get the exact times next time we get together, and I'll tell y'all exactly where you can find us, but it's on Amazon everywhere you go. But look, this weekend, go enjoy the ballpark, get a glove, and go play some catch with your dad or your son or whoever's around. If your uncle's in town, say, hey, Unc, let's go play catch. But for myself and Mike, y'all have a good one and play ball.
Adios.